Right now, somewhere on Earth, a man with more money than you'll see in 100 lifetimes is sitting in a very expensive chair, feeling absolutely nothing. You've been told this story your whole life. Work hard, make money, and happiness shows up at the door like a package you ordered. But in 1978, three researchers tracked down a group of people who had just won the lottery. And what they found broke that story in half. The winners weren't happier than their neighbors. And the strangest part, they actually enjoyed everyday life less than people who'd won nothing at all. This isn't a video about being broke and pretending you're fine. It's about a glitch, a real, measurable glitch, in the way the human brain was built. By the end of this, you'll understand why your money has never made you as happy as you thought it would, and what actually does. Let's go back to that 1978 study. The researchers were Brickman, Coates, and Janoff-Bulman, and they had a simple, almost cruel question. Does winning change you forever? They found 22 people who had won the Illinois state lottery, some of them the equivalent of millions in today's money. Then they did something clever. They compared them to two other groups: ordinary people who'd won nothing, and people who had recently been paralyzed in accidents. Now you'd expect the result to be obvious. Winners way up here, happy. Accident victims way down there, miserable. Everyone else in the middle. That's not what happened. A year later, the lottery winners rated their happiness at almost exactly the same level as the people who'd won nothing. The thrill had worn off. The new car, the new house, the new everything. It had quietly become normal. Their brains had simply moved the finish line. But here's the detail that should genuinely unsettle you. When researchers asked both groups how much they enjoyed small, ordinary pleasures, a good cup of coffee, a conversation with a friend, a compliment, the winners enjoyed them less. Winning the lottery had turned down the volume on everything small. Once you've felt the highest high, breakfast just doesn't hit the same. The money didn't lift them up. It raised the floor of what normal felt like, and then left them standing on it. This glitch has a name. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. The less polite name is the hedonic treadmill. Here's how it works. You want a thing, a raise, a car, a bigger apartment. You're certain that getting it will make you happier. And for a little while it does. But your brain has one job it's terrifyingly good at: turning the extraordinary into the ordinary. Whatever you get, you adapt to. The raise becomes your normal salary. The dream car becomes the thing you drive to work, and the exact level of wanting you felt before. It comes back, but now it's pointed at the next thing. You're not climbing toward happiness. You're running on a belt that speeds up every time you do. And this isn't a character flaw. It's not you being greedy or ungrateful. This is the standard issue human brain working exactly as designed. The same machinery that lets you adapt to bad things and survive them is the machinery that quietly eats your good things alive. Think about the last thing you were desperate to buy. Now think about how often you feel grateful for it today. That gap between how good you thought it would feel and how invisible it became, that gap is the treadmill. Now here's where most videos would tell you money doesn't matter at all. Buy nothing, want nothing, find a mountain. But the science actually says something more interesting and more useful. For decades, the famous number was $75,000. A 2010 study by Nobel winner Daniel Kahneman suggested that past about that income, day-to-day happiness stopped climbing. Money mattered, up to a point, and then it flatlined. But in 2021, a researcher named Matthew Killingsworth ran a much bigger study and found the opposite. Happiness kept rising with income, well past that magic number. Two respected scientists, opposite conclusions. So in 2023, instead of fighting about it, they did something rare. They teamed up to figure out who was wrong. What they discovered explains everything. For most people, more money really does keep adding happiness, slowly, with diminishing returns, but it keeps going. But for the unhappiest group of people, money helps only up to around $100,000 a year. After that, it does almost nothing. Read that again. If you are already unhappy, if the misery comes from heartbreak, loss, loneliness, depression, money buys relief only up to a point, and then it abandons you. The richest miserable person and the moderately comfortable miserable person are, on average, about equally miserable. Money isn't a happiness machine, it's more like a tool that removes certain specific problems, the ones caused by not having money. It can buy you out of a leaking roof and a stack of overdue bills. It cannot buy you out of yourself. So if it's not the money itself, what is it? Killingsworth found a clue hiding in his data. The single biggest factor connecting income to happiness wasn't the size of the bank account. It was a feeling. The sense of being in control of your own life. That's what the money was quietly buying the whole time. Not yachts, not status. Options. The ability to walk away from a job that's crushing you. To say no. To absorb an emergency without it becoming a catastrophe. To choose how you spend your one finite Tuesday on this planet. When money increases your freedom, it increases your happiness. When it just increases your number, the figure in the account that you adapt to in a month and then stop seeing, it does almost nothing. Same dollars, completely different result. The difference is entirely in what those dollars do to your life. This is why two people with the same salary can live in completely different worlds. One is buying a slightly nicer version of a cage, the other is buying the key. So here's where this leaves you. If you've ever gotten the thing you wanted, the raise, the car, the number, and felt that strange, quiet disappointment of, that's it. You are not broken. You are not ungrateful. You're running standard human software on a treadmill that was installed before you were born. But knowing the treadmill exists is the one thing that lets you step off it. You can stop chasing the number and start asking the only question the science actually rewards. Is this money buying me more control over my life? Or just a more expensive place to stand still? Money never bought happiness. It was always buying freedom. We just kept forgetting to spend it on that. If this rearranged something in your head, the subscribe button costs you nothing. And unlike most things, it won't wear off. Next time, we're answering a darker question. Why does your brain sabotage you the moment you finally get money? I'll see you there.